I'm surprised that I haven't talked about this yet, but Harmony Korine is a very interesting filmmaker to me, as far as I don't know if I like his work or not. What I will say is the writing for the movie Kids is fucked up, and as gnarly as that movie is by today's standards, I appreciate the raw, boldness of it, and how it just kind of goes for something extreme in that way, while being kind of honest in some ways still. However, he didn't direct that movie. Larry Clark directed that, so I consider that kind of like both of their movie as well. But Gummo, his first writing and directing credit, is an interesting experiment, but is it a good movie? I don't know. I'd say the last 15 minutes of it, last like 20 minutes of it are pretty impactful, but a lot of it is just so thrown together. This is something I can relate to him on, is I wonder if a lot of stuff I've made is just thrown together and then finished without much thought. Of course, it's different doing it like for a YouTube channel. If I was to actually make a movie, an actual full-length feature film, of course, like I don't know if I would just approach it in that way, but Gummo is interesting. However, there's other flicks like Trash Humpers and Julian Donkey Boy. That movie actually looks kind of interesting. I still have to see that one, I guess. I guess I'm going off of this as someone who has read a lot about him and looked at a lot of his, read a lot about his work a lot, but have only seen like a few of his movies actually in full length. There's like Ken Park, which is just very bizarre. That it was almost like they were trying to capture what they did with Kids, him and Larry Clark, but it didn't really do it for me. And then Spring Breakers is just not that very good either. I think when I first watched it, when I was like, I don't know, when it came out, I was like 20 and I wasn't even able to like drink yet, and I was just kind of like, I think, hyped on that. The way it hit me when I was at that age, the first time watching it, at least, I don't know, it had some kind of impact on me. And then the second time I watched it on a rewatch, I immediately kind of felt very disconnected from it, or realized like how it wasn't as I didn't get as much out of it as I'd hoped. That movie had a lot of like that was just one of those movies where the advertisements really made it seem like it was going to be a lot better or something different. I guess it was way different as far as how it was advertised than what I expected. But anyway, yeah. His movies, I don't know if they're good or not. Like I think he's a very good artist. I think he's a very interesting artist. It doesn't make that, sometimes doesn't really hit the mark is all. And I don't know, if I were to say like Gummo is his best movie probably. But I don't know, I don't know that even that movie's just like, that's not the first movie that I'm trying to show people if I'm trying to get them into movies or whatever. It's just not my first pick, This stuff is very unsettling in a lot of ways too. Like they just feel like Lynchian, like moody, kind of discomforting, like very like uncomfortable types of vibes, and he does do that really well. But I don't know. I see something like Trash. He does interesting things. Like a movie like Trash Humpers I haven't even seen it, but it just looks so fucking stupid and not worth watching. But what was interesting about that is how he tried to send it, like the VHS tapes. He tried to send it on VHS tapes to like different, I think, police stations or different parts of different like places, and that he just does weird shit like that, which I'm like, oh, that is a kind of a cool artistic move. So I'm fascinated by him as a person, as an artist, more than his work is really where I'm getting at, I guess, and I think that's very bizarre. I'd love to see, I heard that movie with the Beach Bum wasn't that good either. I'm sick of seeing his movies coming out and become like it's kind of rough to have that anticipation for his flicks, and then I see nothing but like negative like reviews, or just like very like poor reviews of them, and I'm like, maybe his work is just very misunderstood. I don't know. He's got like this cult following with his movies, but I don't know if it's something I revisit I want to revisit as much as I'd like. I don't. I think they're very interesting. They're very fast. I'm intrigued by his movies more than actually loving them or actually wanting to watch them. They're more intriguing experiences and One thing you can't say, or like you can't deny about Harmony Korine, is that he's experimental. He's a masterful experimentation type of artist, I guess. Which I love, because maybe I wonder if I do that enough myself. Like, I don't know if I experiment enough with certain things, and I wish I did more. I wish I did have that desire to try different things like that. So yeah, I don't know. Is Harmony Korine a good filmmaker? Maybe. Maybe. All right, let me know what everybody else thinks if you have any thoughts on that.